Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Aptera released their March update on Saturday, and I'm sure most of you guys, if not all of you guys, have already seen it. But I thought we'd kind of go over it and give you some of my thoughts on it and what I think is going on. So I think that what we're seeing here is not the fully completed body that will be shipped over, but what they had about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The first thing that I think about when I see this is the entire body is sitting on what looks like a very light duty cart. Now this body has less parts, like we don't see any of the doors. There's no chassis structure on this thing. It's just the main parts without any of the other parts on here. All right, the second thing I noticed when I was looking at this is this part right here looks like either one, there's damage, or two, there's dirt, or three, there's adhesive right in this area. And it seems to be just this area that has this, because when you see it from the other side has the exact same thing. This area right here, I believe is the part where the latch for the door mechanism would be. So I don't know if this is a temporary piece that they've bolted onto here, and this would be swapped out for the latch, or this is part of the latching mechanism part. And you can just see how intricate this is. It's really nice. All right, so you see here again, what we're talking about. We saw it on the other side. And here's the go-glow. Again, you see bolts here, so this part's bolted down. Some right here as well.
What you just saw was the first production body structure bonded together, and it's on its way to our headquarters in Carlsbad right now. This body allows...
All right, so that was probably the single biggest statement in this entire update, is that the body structure is on its way to Aptera right now. We don't know if is it just this body structure that's being sent over, or is it an entire rolling chassis that's being sent over. I'm going to guess that it's just the body structure. And so that may mean that this is just the body structure for them to test out how they're going to place things and whether the cabling and all that stuff fits into the body structure well. And we're going to have to wait a little longer for the rolling chassis to show up to have a rolling PI build.
Allows our electrical systems team to finalize cable routing, connectors, and placement of components in the real world in preparation for drivable PI vehicles.
So I think if you read between the lines, this is a body only. I think that's what we're looking at.
Back to production progress. PI2 will be our first vehicle driving with a production intent drivetrain, frame, safety structure, and suspension.
All right, so this part's a little confusing to me because before Steve said that they were gonna make. He sounded like it was just gonna be a body part that's not drivable, that they're just testing component placement and wiring placement. But then he brings up PI2 here, which makes me wonder: is this thing gonna be PI2? The thing that's going to be sent over, and are we going to have a driving production intent vehicle here in the next month? I mean, that would be amazing. I believe it's PI3 that is the production intent vehicle that's going to be the fully cosmetic vehicle with the solar panels and the interior and everything, and that's the one that they're obviously going to try to get probably Jay Leno to look at again in large media outlets. And large YouTube channels to look at, and that's the one that's going to be the important one for them to get a lot of exposure and hopefully more funding to keep moving forward with this. Now PI2, I think, sounds like it's just like a drivable mule, much like Beta. Beta didn't look attractive, but it was like a driving dynamics mule, and I think PI2 is kind of like that. PI3 is going to be the more cosmetic mule, which is like Gamma.
It's something the team is preparing to build right now. In Italy, the team is completing the final
So when I first saw this, I thought that this thing was a drive shaft.
validation on our suspension geometry, and then we'll begin tooling our frame and suspension components. In preparation for our first production intent vehicles, we've kicked off many parts of our supply chain to complete systems such
So this is the MagWorks headlight. As far as we know, they are still the supplier of the headlight. And then, so it looks like they've ordered that and they've ordered the seats.
as lighting and our seats. Our battery supplier CT&S has been kicked off to build production intent battery modules and validate their production process. In parallel, the battery team in San Diego have ordered parts to build the first full packs to speed up the timeline it takes to get a production intent battery driving in our first PI vehicles. In Modena, the team is continuing to press and validate non-structural body parts such as the rear wheel skirt. This tooling progress will continue to happen in the coming months as our first vehicles come together. Thanks to you, things have really been accelerating here at Aptera.
Okay, so it looks like a lot of moving parts here. The PI body is coming over. They've ordered the packs from CTNS, and they've ordered the other. They've ordered the modules from CTNS, and then they've ordered other parts to put the packs together. And then they've ordered seats and lighting. So a lot of moving parts. So they're really like getting the stuff together now. So it's all coming together to make the first to do the PI builds. So I think it's a very exciting time.
We've moved past prototypes and are laser focused on building and validating production systems to get you your Aptera as soon as we can.
Okay. Overall, I think it was a short update, and there weren't that many details, but what details there were big. They are getting a production intent body. It's unclear if it's a production intent body or a rolling chassis. And so what we need to find out is this a vehicle that's going to be a drivable PI or just a PI body to just test out location of components and seats and lighting and wiring and other things like that, or is it a drivable thing? It was kind of hard to tell from the update which of the two it is. Initially, it sounded like it was just a body, but later on, it sounded like maybe it's going to be a drivable update. Who knows? All right, so thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. So this body in carbon that was shown in the Aptera March 2024 update, they were saying it was en route. Well, as of today, and today is April 2nd, 2024, it has arrived in Carlsbad. So this is the exact body that we're seeing here is now in Carlsbad. Now, there was some confusion when I talked about this video about if this is the PI1 or PI2 or PI3. And that's because I remember this slide from the December webinar, December 2023 webinar. And they were saying the PI1 was a powertrain, range testing, electrical systems, brakes test vehicle. The PI2 would be the press vehicle, so the pretty one for press events and test rides and stuff. This is the one that we're going to be most excited to see, obviously. And then PI3 is going to be ride, handling, compliance, and alignment, that kind of stuff. Now, it looks like the plans have changed, and that's why I was a little confused. On our Discord channel, Chris McCann hangs out there, and he answers a lot of questions. Thanks, Chris, for hanging out with us in our Discord channel and clearing up some things. So the plan has changed. PI1, that's the one that we saw in this video. This is PI1. This is PI1. So PI1 is for cable routing, and the PI2 is the first drivable vehicle, which will be outfitted with more systems. So PI2 looks like that may eventually become the press vehicle, but initially it's going to build up slowly over time. So it sounds like PI2 is going to become the power change, range testing, brakes, that kind of stuff. And it's possible that they're going to be kind of mashed together. So maybe the plans are changing and there will not be 16 PI vehicles, which I thought was quite a bit. And they're going to try to do this testing. I think they're going to try to do just a few vehicles for all the non-destructive testing. Because, there's no reason they can't do this power train and range testing with the thing that eventually becomes the press vehicle. Anyways, Steve Fambro on X, Twitter, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, was on a tear this morning. So this morning he first put out this picture, and then an hour later he does this, and then 4 hours later, so we're all wondering what's in there for 4 hours. So 4 hours later, releases this picture, and that is this picture, and you see this is the same body that was shown in the March 2024 update. And you see here the kind of whatever, I don't know if this is adhesive. This has got to be adhesive. If it was dirt, I would have think they would have cleaned it off by now. So this is some kind of adhesive or something in there. And you see this body. Now it doesn't have, it seems to be missing the doors and things like that. And so that's what we mentioned. And then Chris gave us this picture, and you can see that the hood and the doors indeed made it. So here's the hood, the doors, and this looks like the rear hatch right here. So they came kind of separately in the crate, but the pieces are there. What's clear is this is not a rolling chassis. There is no suspension. There is no chassis. There is no frame on this. It is just the carbon fiber and SMC body. And so what they're gonna do is put the electrical components in here and do the cable writing and just make sure things fit like they're supposed to. And so that is what the PI1 is going to be. It's basically the PI1 is going to be just basically a mule to make sure that things fit, the components fit, the cable routing works, and I guess do some other stuff. But it's not going to be rolling. There's not going to be any like battery or motor or suspension or anything on this thing. This thing will not move. So it's just going to sit. Maybe they'll do some interior parts in here and use this as an interior mule too. I don't know. But anyway, very exciting. The very first production intent body is now in Carlsbad as of this morning, April 2nd, 2024. All right, so this is the first big step. They are getting geared up for PI2 as soon as they wrap up the suspension testing in Italy. As soon as that is done and they're ready to go, they will start, they'll ship that over, presumably by air again. And then that will be the first drivable production intent vehicle, which may become eventually the press vehicle for test ride. So PI2 may serve multiple purposes. Maybe all three of these will be wrapped up and become PI2. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope that's exciting news for everyone. Have a great day.
I didn't follow development of the Lucid Air the way I'm following Aptera. Out of curiosity, I just did a quick Google search and found a couple of references from late 2019 and 2020 on Lucid's website saying they were in the process of building 80 vehicles for the purpose of validating and testing. Don't know if they will, or don't know if they did 80. Okay, can't remember this. It was days ago I read this. But in either case, we're looking at what Lucid has done has been a mammoth amount of prototypes compared to the 5 fake prototypes that Aptera has done. And now they're promising to do 16 PI builds. I think you can write that off as another lie. So will the adhesive part be done in Carlsbad eventually? Not any time soon. The CPC will be creating these bodies and shipping them to Carlsbad. They've talked about eventually bringing the entire body production stateside, but it's not likely to happen for a few years. Okay, well, if they're not likely to put the production body over for a few years, they're not going to keep these silly trikes down to the prices that they've advertised, because the expense of sending over these bodies like they're doing is just going to add to the price. No, that was the Beta being shipped to Italy for further suspension tuning. How does Bruce Baby know that that's why the Beta was being shipped to Italy? These people lie. He can't be sure that the Beta isn't being sent over to cannibalise it, take the frame out of it, and use it for their PI2, and that'll be just about the end of the whole story. After the PI2, these people will disappear and go, well, we didn't have a working product this time. Last time their excuse was they didn't have the money, and they always pretended that the product worked, but it didn't. They've never fixed the product. This time they could be able to say, I'm pretty sure they're even certain that they won't be able to scam 3 times. So this time they'll be able to say, oh no, it failed all the testing. It's not a viable product. Too bad. We're out of here. But the PI2 will be the one that they get the last dregs of all the gullible fanboys that they can find around the world filling in their brown paper bags. My prediction is they may last long enough to run this PI2 around a little bit in its cheapened way of manufacture, and that'll be the end of it. That'll suck the last investments and pre-orders out. I'm even wondering whether they don't even refund any pre-orders this time around. The annual SEC filing hit a couple of days ago. Steve, down to only 31 employees. Well, it's been probably, the 6th or something of April now. They left it to the last minute as usual, but I'm surprised that nobody has analysed the SEC filings, neither in a video or in any comments, other than the fact that we get these that just say they finally came out with them. But we really need to get somebody into the SEC filings. I hope Warren Redlich does it. 31 employees. I can remember when they were bragging about having nearly 100. What happened to that? These people are in their death throes. They can't increase the employees because they need to have the workstations for them to stand at. And there's not one workstation, as far as I can tell. The warehouse is still empty. It's just full of a bit of junk. Steve Bush still need the frame. And that's why I'm saying Beta went over there. It's got a ready-made frame. It's going to be ripped out of the Beta and put in the next part body to come over to Carlsbad. The PI2, the last of any Aptera you'll ever see on the face of the earth. You can include the motors and suspension parts as well. It'll be just that green, ugly Beta body pulled off and the, and the CPC pieces replacing it. Let's see. Well, that's all for me. Bye for now. Stay safe.